The Silent Resistance. The Galaxy Dominion had conquered 17 star systems in the last century alone. Their expansion was methodical, relentless, and utterly without mercy. Species that resisted were subjugated. Those that submitted were assimilated. The pattern never varied across 2,000 years of galactic history, until they met humanity. Earth's first detection of the Galaxy came not through direct contact, but through the quantum-encoded distress signals of the Centauri, a peaceful race whose civilization had flourished for 50,000 years before being reduced to ash in less than a solar cycle. Humanity intercepted the final transmissions, desperate pleas for help that arrived 3 years too late. In the chambers of the United Earth Defense Council, Admiral Quan Chen reviewed the holographic projection of the Galaxy battle formation approaching Sol system. His weathered face revealed nothing, but his fingers tightened around the edge of the command table. "They've maintained the same expansion velocity," said Strategic Director Amara Okafor, her voice steady despite the implications. "At current trajectory, their scout vessels will reach Jupiter's orbit in 17 days. The room fell silent. 12 men and women representing Earth's combined military forces exchanged glances. They had prepared for this moment for 15 years, ever since that first intercepted distress signal. "Are we ready?" Admiral Chen asked, looking to Commander Elena Reyes. Commander Reyes nodded once. "Operation Quiet Thunder is fully operational, sir. The fleet is in position." What the Galaxy didn't know, what no alien civilization suspected, was that humanity had not spent the last century focused solely on colonizing Mars and mining the asteroid belt. Those visible achievements were merely the public face of a much deeper endeavor. Beneath the surfaces of Callisto, Europa, and Titan, vast shipyards had been constructed in absolute secrecy. Earth's apparent technological level was a carefully crafted illusion. While publicly demonstrating basic fusion drives and railgun technology, humanity had privately mastered quantum displacement engines and gravitational lensing weapons. The Galaxy scout vessels entered the outer solar system right on schedule. They were massive, their obsidian hulls absorbing rather than reflecting light, moving with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat. High Command watched the feeds from stealth satellites as the alien vessels performed their standard reconnaissance pattern. Scans washed over Jupiter's moons, detecting only the expected mining operations and research outposts. "They don't see us," whispered Lieutenant Commander Abrams. "They're not looking for us," replied Commander Reyes. "Why would they? Every civilization they've encountered has revealed its full technological capacity from the beginning." 3 days later, the main Galaxy fleet arrived. 300 vessels of varying sizes, the smallest equivalent to Earth's largest publicly acknowledged spacecraft. The fleet arranged itself in a hemisphere facing toward the inner solar system, a position optimized for both defense and rapid attack. The message came as expected: a demand for immediate surrender, broadcast across all electromagnetic frequencies. "People of Earth," the transmission began in perfectly synthesized English. "You have been recognized by the Supreme Galaxy Dominion. Your planet is now under the protection and authority of the Dominion. Resistance is unnecessary and inefficient. Submit and be elevated. Your unique biological and cultural attributes will be preserved within the greater harmony of the Dominion." This message repeated in 57 Earth languages, giving humanity 12 hours to respond. In the council chamber, Admiral Chen looked to the President of the United Earth Government. "Madam President, it's time." President Amina Leblanc nodded, her expression resolute. "Proceed with Quiet Thunder." Commander Elena Reyes felt the familiar weightless sensation as she moved through the command deck of the UES Defiance, humanity's first true warship. At 42, she had spent half her life preparing for this moment, training in secret facilities beneath the lunar surface. Battle Group commanders reporting ready. "Commander, her XO, Lieutenant Commander Santiago," announced. "All systems nominal." The Defiance was the flagship of humanity's hidden fleet, 79 warships distributed throughout the outer solar system, their hulls incorporating metamaterials that absorbed scan energy rather than reflecting it. For 15 years, they had remained undetected, their crews training in absolute secrecy. Initiate Phase 1, Rise ordered. Across the solar system, quantum entanglement communicators relayed the command simultaneously to all vessels. The countdown began. In Earth orbit, the President addressed humanity, revealing for the first time the full extent of the threat and Earth's response. Citizens of Earth and her colonies, for 15 years we have prepared for this day. The Velaxi Dominion has destroyed countless civilizations across our galaxy. They come expecting to find yet another species unprepared for their arrival. Today, they will learn that humanity does not follow their patterns. Today, we stand. As the 12-hour deadline approached, the Velaxi fleet began moving toward Earth, their engines flaring with violet energy. They had received no response to their ultimatum, which, in their experience, typically indicated either primitive confusion or futile preparation for resistance. Supreme Commander Terex of the Velaxi watched the approaching blue planet with sixfold vision, his central neural cluster processing tactical information through centuries of conquests. Unusual, he commented to his sub-commanders. They make no attempt at communication or negotiation. Scan for defensive preparations. None detected beyond basic orbital platforms. Supreme Commander, came the response. Their technological level appears limited to chemical propulsion and rudimentary energy weapons. Terex's sensory appendages quivered slightly, the Velaxi equivalent of a dismissive shrug. Another simple conquest, then. Move to initiation position. The Velaxi fleet formed its standard subjugation pattern, spreading out to encircle Earth while maintaining formation integrity. Their sensors remained focused on Earth and its visible defenses. They never looked behind them. As the Velaxi formation completed, Commander Reyes gave the order. Phase 2. Execute. Across the outer solar system, quantum displacement engines activated simultaneously. 79 human warships shifted instantaneously from their hidden positions to strategic points surrounding the Velaxi fleet. On the Velaxi command vessel, alarms screamed across all frequencies. Supreme Commander Terex's sensory membranes flared in shock as tactical displays showed human vessels appearing from nowhere. Impossible, he hissed. They cannot have quantum displacement technology. Before the Velaxi could reorganize their formation, the human fleet opened fire, but instead of conventional weapons, gravitational lensing arrays activated, creating localized distortions in space-time that targeted the Velaxi ship's propulsion systems. One by one, Velaxi vessels found themselves unable to maneuver, caught in gravitational wells that disrupted their engines without destroying their ships. From the Defiance, Commander Reyes opened a communication channel to the Velaxi command ship. Velaxi Fleet, this is Commander Elena Reyes of the United Earth Defense Force. Your vessels have been immobilized. We have targeted your propulsion systems only, as a demonstration of both our capabilities and our restraint. She paused, letting the statement sink in. For 15 years, we have studied your conquest patterns. We intercepted the Centauri distress signals. We know what you do to worlds that resist and those that submit. Humanity has chosen a third option. On his command deck, Supreme Commander Terex watched in disbelief as his mighty fleet, undefeated for centuries, hung immobile in space, caught in weapons technology he had believed was still theoretical. You have 1 hour to withdraw your forces from the Sol system, Rice continued. We have disabled your propulsion temporarily. It will reset when we deactivate our gravitational arrays. This is not negotiable. The transmission ended, leaving the Velaxi commander in stunned silence. For the first time in the Dominion's long history, they faced a species that had anticipated their arrival and prepared accordingly. A species that had hidden its true technological advancement. A species that had just neutralized the most powerful fleet in the galaxy without destroying a single vessel. Admiral Chen watched the tactical display as the hour passed in tense silence. Finally, the Velaxi command ship transmitted a response. Brief and unprecedented. We withdraw. This encounter is not concluded. As promised, the human fleet deactivated their gravitational arrays. One by one, the Velaxy vessels regained maneuverability. With precision that betrayed their shock and confusion, they reformed into a retreat formation and accelerated away from Earth. In the council chamber, a cheer went up from the gathered leadership, but President LeBlanc and Admiral Chen remained solemn. "This is only the beginning," the Admiral said quietly. "They'll be back." The President nodded, "But they'll come differently next time. We've changed the equation." As the Velaxy fleet disappeared into the darkness of space, humanity prepared for what would come next. They had delivered their warning. The Dominion had received it. The galaxy would never be the same. The revelation. Supreme Commander Terex faced the Dominion High Council, his posture rigid with the unfamiliar weight of failure. In 2,000 years of conquest, no Velaxy commander had ever delivered such news. "They anticipated us," he said, his voice modulated to convey appropriate deference. "They concealed their true technological capacity. They neutralized our fleet without a single casualty." The 9 members of the High Council, the oldest and most neurologically advanced of the Velaxy species, regarded him with compound eyes that betrayed no emotion. "This assessment conflicts with all previous intelligence," stated High Counselor Meverix. "Humans were classified as a Category 3 species. Primitive fusion technology, early interplanetary exploration, no unified government. Explain this discrepancy." Terex's sensory fronds quivered. "The intelligence was deliberately misleading, Exalted One. The humans presented a false technological front while developing advanced capabilities in secret. They knew we were coming." The council chamber fell silent as the implications rippled through the collective consciousness of the Velaxy leadership. "How?" demanded another counselor. "Our approach to Sol was standard protocol. No species has ever detected us before first contact." "They intercepted the Centauri distress signals," Terex replied. "They studied our patterns of conquest. They prepared specifically to counter our methods." High Counselor Meverix rose from her position at the center of the council formation. "This requires unprecedented measures. Prepare the subjugation fleet." But for the first time in his 3-century career, Terex hesitated. "Exalted One, I must advise caution. The humans demonstrated only defensive capabilities. They disabled our ships when they could have destroyed them. They offered terms instead of annihilation." "You suggest weakness," hissed Counselor Dravik, his neural clusters pulsing with aggression. "I suggest difference," Terex replied carefully. "These humans think unlike any species we have encountered. They anticipated. They concealed. They restrained. The standard protocols may be insufficient." 6 months passed on Earth. Humanity did not celebrate their victory. They prepared. The public shipyards on Mars and in Earth orbit worked at maximum capacity, now openly building warships incorporating the previously secret technologies. Mining operations throughout the asteroid belt doubled their output. In the headquarters of the United Earth Defense Force beneath the Himalayan mountains, Commander Reyes, now Admiral Reyes, reviewed the latest intelligence with her command staff. "The Velaxy are gathering a larger fleet at these coordinates," she said, highlighting a star system 15 light-years from Sol. "Our long-range quantum sensors detect at least 700 vessels, including 3 we've never seen before." The holographic display showed massive structures that dwarfed even the Velaxy command ships they had encountered previously. "World breakers," said Admiral Chen grimly. "Planet-killing weapons. They've only deployed those twice in their recorded history." The command room fell silent. Their victory had bought them time, but the Velaxy were returning with the full might of their dominion. "Our options?" asked President LeBlanc. "We continue with the Threshold Protocol," Reyes replied. "The quantum displacement network is 60% complete. If the Velaxy follow their standard assault protocols, we can evacuate 40% of Earth's population to the sanctuary worlds." And the other 60%? Asked the president, though she knew the answer. No one replied. The math was implacable. There is another option, said Dr. Elias Mbeki, head of the Quantum Sciences Division. All eyes turned to the scientist, who rarely spoke in strategic meetings. The Valaxi don't understand us because they've never encountered a species that thinks like we do, he continued. They've conquered through superior technology and predictable responses from their targets. But we now hold technological parity in key areas, and they don't know everything we can do. What are you suggesting, Doctor? Asked Admiral Chen. Contact them, Mbeki said simply, but not with threats or ultimatums. Show them something they've never seen before. 2 weeks later, as the Valaxi subjugation fleet finalized preparations for their assault on Seoul, an unexpected transmission penetrated their command network. It bypassed all security protocols as if they didn't exist, appearing simultaneously on every communication device throughout the fleet. The message contained no words, only coordinates and a time. Supreme Commander Terex, now elevated to war leader for the human subjugation, recognized the location immediately, a star system precisely halfway between the Valaxi fleet and Seoul. The specified time was 3 standard cycles away, barely enough time for a Valaxi delegation to reach the coordinates. It's an ambush, declared Sub-Commander Vrex. If they wished to ambush us, they would not announce their location. Terex replied thoughtfully. This is something else. Against the counsel of the High Council's representative, Terex ordered a small delegation, 3 ships, including his command vessel, to the specified coordinates. They arrived precisely at the designated time, weapons and defenses at full readiness. The system was uninhabited, a white dwarf star orbited by the remnants of shattered planets, a common sight in the ancient galaxy. For several minutes, nothing happened. Valaxi scanners detected no ships, no stations, no signs of human presence. Then, without warning, space itself seemed to fold. Where empty void had existed moments before, a single human vessel appeared, smaller than Terex had expected, with no visible weapons. A communication request came through on all frequencies simultaneously. On the holographic display, a human female appeared, the same commander who had delivered the ultimatum in their previous encounter. War Leader Terex, said Admiral Reyes. Thank you for coming. Terex's neural clusters pulsed with surprise. You know my designation and promotion. A slight movement of the human's face, what Terex's cultural database identified as a smile. We understand more about the Valaxi than you might expect, she replied, just as we understand why you're returning with planet killers. This cycle of escalation benefits neither of us. You resist the Dominion, Terex stated. All who resist are subjugated. That pattern has defined Valaxi expansion for 2 millennia, Reyes agreed. But patterns can change when they encounter something unprecedented. We are here to show you something no other species has ever shown the Valaxi. The human vessel's outer hull reconfigured, sections sliding apart to reveal what appeared to be a scientific instrument of enormous complexity. What is this? Demanded Terex. A demonstration, Reyes replied. Please observe the star. The white dwarf that illuminated the system suddenly flared, its corona expanding in controlled pulses. Terex's scientific officer reported in alarm. They're manipulating the star's magnetic field at the quantum level. Before the Valaxi could respond, the energy pattern emitting from the star began to change, forming what Terex recognized as a mathematical sequence, prime numbers, followed by the fundamental constants of physics. This is not a weapon, Reyes explained. It's a stellar manipulation array. We can use it to extend the life of dying stars, or to harvest clean energy at unprecedented scale. The implications staggered the Valaxi commander. Such technology was beyond even theoretical models in Dominion science. We could have used this as a weapon, Reyes continued. Directed stellar flares could destroy your fleet before it entered the Sol system. Instead, we offer it as a demonstration of possibility. Possibility. Teryx's translator struggled with the concept, the possibility of something the Valaxi have never considered: alliance instead of conquest. The humans' proposal was so alien to Valaxi thought patterns that Teryx's neural clusters required several moments to process it. The Dominion does not ally. It incorporates. Because you've never encountered a species that could offer you more as equals than as subjects, Rise replied. Until now. With a gesture, she activated a holographic display that expanded to fill the space between their vessels. It showed technological schematics, scientific theories, and engineering concepts that even the advanced Valaxi civilization had not yet mastered. This is what humanity can offer the Dominion, not as conquered subjects, but as partners. Technologies we've developed by thinking differently than the Valaxi. Ways of understanding the universe that complement rather than duplicate your own. Teryx studied the display, his six-fold vision absorbing the implications. The human proposal violated every principle of Dominion expansion, every pattern established over thousands of years. Yet he could not deny the logic. What the humans offered freely would take the Dominion centuries to develop independently, if they ever could. The High Council will never accept this, he said finally. They will if you show them the mathematics, Rise replied. Calculate the resources required for subjugation versus the advancement possible through cooperation. The Valaxi respect efficiency above all else. Our proposal is demonstrably more efficient than conquest. In that moment, war leader Teryx made a decision that would forever alter the course of galactic history. He ordered his scientific officer to verify the human claims, to analyze the stellar manipulation technology, to calculate the efficiency ratios of alliance versus subjugation. 3 days later, the Valaxi subjugation fleet received new orders. The world breakers powered down. The conquest formation dissolved. For the first time in 2,000 years, the Valaxi Dominion prepared not to conquer, but to negotiate. 1 year later, Admiral Rise stood beside war leader Teryx on the observation deck of the newly constructed Nexus Station, a massive structure orbiting the neutral star of Alpha Centauri. Below them, Valaxi and human engineers worked side by side, combining their technologies and approaches to create something neither civilization could have built alone. The Kithri have requested admission to the Accord, Teryx informed her, referring to a species that had long existed as reluctant subjects of the Dominion. They bring significant biotechnology advances. Rise nodded. The Accord Council will review their application next cycle. The Galactic Accord, the unprecedented alliance that had replaced the Dominion's endless expansion, now included 4 species, with more applying each month. The Valaxi provided their vast knowledge of stellar engineering and material science. Humans contributed their quantum technologies and unique problem-solving approaches, and other species added their own specialties. Still, Teryx said, his voice modulated to convey what humans might call thoughtfulness. Some in the High Council questioned the efficiency of this arrangement. Old patterns persist. Old patterns always do, Rise agreed. But the mathematics remain undeniable. The Accord has achieved more in 1 year than the Dominion accomplished in the previous century. Because of human unpredictability, Teryx acknowledged. Your species thinks in ways we cannot anticipate, and you provide the stability and experience we lack, Rise replied. Neither approach is superior, they're complementary. As they watched the station taking shape below them, a physical manifestation of their unlikely alliance, Rise reflected on how close the galaxy had come to a devastating war, a war that would have ended either with Earth's destruction or the Dominion's defeat, leaving the galaxy fractured either way. Instead, humanity had offered something no species had ever shown the Valaxi before, a third option. Not resistance or submission, but partnership. Not victory or defeat, but mutual advancement. The final warning that humanity had delivered to the Empire was not one of destruction, but of transformation. And in the end, that had made all the difference.